In the heart of the Eldergrove forest, shadows danced beneath the towering trees, whispering secrets long forgotten. The air was thick with tension, for fearsome goblins lurked, their beady eyes trained on a single, solitary figure, Mordekai, the skeletal necromancer. Led by the brutish Griznackle, a group of goblin mercenaries plotted to capture him. Word spread of Mordekai's staff, a staff that was capable of raising the dead. Tales of survivors told of Mordekai's powers. The goblins, hungry for gold and power, sought interest in what could be if Mordekai was captured. As the sun dipped below the horizon, cloaking the forest in darkness, Mordekai sensed the goblins closing in. They crept through the underbrush, their steps echoing ominously. Mordekai took a moment of silence, summoning the magic that coursed through his bones. He raised his staff high and began to chant until the magic within. His bones brought life to the remains below. With a fierce incantation, bones from the forest floor began to rattle and rise, twisting into skeletal warriors that formed a protective wall around him. As the goblins charged, Mordekai unleashed his power, each spell woven with discipline and motivation to destroy all goblins. Spells streaked through the air, dispersing dozens of goblins as the forest erupted in chaos. Mordekai, give us the staff, or face our wrath, Griznackle screeched, rallying his goblin horde. But Mordekai remained unfazed. With each spell cast, he conjured more undead from the soil, turning the tide of battle in his favor. Goblins fell in droves, their numbers dwindling as Mordekai's skeletal minions tore them apart. Down with the necromancer, cried Griznackle as a group of archers let loose a volley of arrows. But they clattered harmlessly against Mordekai's bones. He responded with a pulse of necromantic energy, sending shockwaves that scattered the goblin ranks and sent many tumbling to the ground. As the battle raged on, Mordekai's power seemed limitless. He easily fought off the goblins. But just when it seemed victory was in his grasp, the air shifted. The ground began to rumble, eventually splitting open. Out came roots binding goblins and the skeletal minions to trees. Terror etched on the goblins' faces. Enough! The figure boomed, its voice resonating with a commanding authority. Mordekai turned, but there was nothing to be seen, besides the movement of the trees and the roots beneath. Mordekai, the voice continued. Your power is great, Mordekai, but so is the darkness within. These goblins are your true enemy and mine. You fight not for wealth, but for respect. A branch lowered a shimmering amulet that pulsed with a white light. Mordekai, in a moment of clarity, he saw that his necromantic powers, while formidable, had been fueled by a desire to protect. The goblins, though greedy, were but misguided creatures seeking fortune in their own way. With a decisive nod, Mordekai lowered his staff and waited. Griznackle, retreat! The voice shouted, and the fearsome goblin leader looked bewildered. You and your kin have no treasure here, but I offer you a chance. Leave this forest and seek your fortunes elsewhere, and I shall not stand in your way. Stunned murmurs spread among Griznackle and his remaining goblins. Eyes wide, realized this wasn't the battle he expected. Wasting no time, he gathered his remaining warriors and fled. As silence fell, Mordekai wondered, why stop me? And the forest replied, because, Mordekai, the greatest treasures are not made of gold or jewels, but within our choices. Today, you to protect. A new dawn broke through the trees, light spilling over the forest floor. Mordekai, standing in the warm glow, understood that his true power lay, not in commanding the dead, but in forging a new path of understanding and protection for Eldergrove.